It's day 6. We have just made it to Hobbitown. It's so cold. I wore a jumper and my ankles are exposed. Um, here's the view.
Equipment was stowed away for filming. This was also where the first batch of Hobbit holes were produced before they were taken down to the set. Before they were taken down, they resided on this hill up here to the right. Nowadays, the technical car park goes by another name. It's called Dusty Haven and is home to a maintenance team. Now if you all look towards the left-hand side of the bus, we'll see a long strip of land between the fence line and the road. It's called Animal Kingdom. Now this area kept up to 29 different kinds of animals for filming, including horses, cows and sheep, pigs and goats, even a trained eagle, although the eagle wasn't used for filming, it was instead used to keep away small animals from it.
No, I'm sending you want 44?
We're not going to go to all 44.
Wait, you have to.
Because he said you can come back later and count.
Go fishing. Oh.
Alright, I'm about to, sorry. It's for the vlog.
What vlog? The walking vlog.
Listen.
I really think it's like
Oh,
if
Jesus!
we saw something like in Disney and it was like
Yeah,
for real.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it's like.
This is
like
what it's like.
if you actually like oh this is really what it is. That's
Oh, this was so cute. I love the flowers.
There is a reason for that.
I should get one though, but it's not
Yeah, it's for the vlog. I don't know.
No, okay, so in days of old, a lot of our carvings, if they were of the male figure, they did have the male genitalia carved in them, alright? The problem with today's society is how they're perceived to be, a very sexual object. But for us as Māori, it was more to do with how virile our warriors were, or not so much warrior, but our men were, and how fertile our women were. And for a lot of Māori men, they like to multiply in the masses. Okay? And it was more so to do, not so much to do with, bragging rights that I've got this many kids to this many people. It was more so about having a connection amongst different tribes. Mm-hmm. That was the whole purpose, yeah. So like tribal marriages. Mm-hmm. And then once we were colonized and different races started, coming into our country, then it started becoming an interracial relationship. So you'll find a lot of us Māori now have more than just Māori blood within us. Mm-hmm. So for myself, for example, I do have, on both my parents' side, I do have Scottish and Irish, but you just can't tell. It's okay. But other than that, so that's the reason as to why he's up there showing everything, because he's proud, he's proud. No. Now, the whole purpose of that particular carving, okay, you'll see another on that house and also on the far house where the men are sleeping. He is a spiritual guardian overlooking the land in front of us to clear away any negative energy. So we are a very spiritual culture, and ensure everybody that tramples on our land is very well looked after spiritually. So that's the whole purpose of these warriors on the top of the houses. Now, directly underneath, can you see the carved face? Okay, so these houses here are ancestral houses. So they depict the anatomy of our ancestor. Directly underneath, so you've got his face, then you have his arms in an outstretched motion. Just beyond the arms, you have his fingers. Okay, if you just see down there. Now, in this case, there are 4 fingers, which represents the life cycle of mankind. Okay, so birth, life, and death, and then the 4th being the afterlife. Okay, Māori warrior standing upright represents one of his legs, and this settler on the other side represents his other leg. So he's standing like this. All right. Once you enter inside the house, you're inside his body, and that's where it comes to life. You'll see the spine down the center, the ribs, and also center poles that represent his heart. Okay, so for these particular houses only, we ask that you remove your shoes. That's all that we ask. Oh, and also no eating.
Oh my gosh. They're soft?
I'm about to be out.
This is nice. I love this, actually.
I'm really about to be going.
For collecting food from the ocean, we would always give thanks to the guardian of the ocean for allowing us to, eat stuff. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, you get what I mean. So it's kind of like you come into my house. I don't expect you to just walk into my pantry and take my food without asking. It's kind of the very similar concept. You will be always ask and give thanks towards the guardian of the ocean for allowing us to utilize his children and what he's provided for sustenance for our families. Okay. Then we have Tane Mahuta. Tane Mahuta is the guardian of the forest. Same concept there. Okay. Whenever we cut down trees, pluck away any of the leaves to make Māori medicines, we always give thanks to the guardian of the forest first. Okay, it's just our way of ensuring that spiritually we are protected, and because we do believe if you go into an environment and you take without asking, something could happen to you. So that's just for us as Māori, that's just our way of giving thanks back to the environment. Then we have Rongo Maraeroa. Now Rongo Maraeroa is the guardian of peace, and he is also the guardian of cultivated foods. Okay, so foods such as the kumara, which is the sweet potato. What's the other? Now that we've kind of moved into a more modern society, the things that belong to him are things like potatoes, pumpkins, carrots, anything that's growing underneath the ground in terms of, mankind has to handle these kinds of foods in order for them to grow. So that's what he is the guardian of. Then we have Ruai Moko, who is the guardian of earthquakes, volcanic activity, and also thermal activity. Over from him, we have Tāwhiri Mātea, who is the guardian of the forest. Oh no, he's not forest. Guardian of the wind. And last but not least, this one here is Tamanui Te Rā, who is the guardian of the sun. Okay, so these are 8 out of 77 different guardians that we have within our spiritual belief. Okay. Now, this one here is Tiki Ahua, who's the first male mortal in our spiritual belief, and he was created from, I've got nothing, from here, okay, and it was the guardian, the second one in, the one that I haven't actually spoken about, he created the first male mortal, okay, and just on this side, we have Hine Ahuone, who is the first female mortal, and she was sculpted from soil. The creator of Hine Ahuone is the guardian of the forest. Okay, now I can elaborate. There's this cool story about these two, and it's kind of a long story, so I'm here till late, so I'll talk to you later. Yeah. Next one over. Okay, just out of curiosity, who here has seen the movie Moana? Yes. Okay, so if you, this is Maui. This is our Maui. So we do have Maui in our culture. He is the same as the Maui in the movie. He is a demigod. He is a shapeshifter. A lot of the stories that he mentions within his song, the song You're Welcome, and he talks about fishing up of land, bringing fire into this world. What's the other? Slowing down the sun. He mentions all those stories. We have those exact same stories within our culture. That's why us as Māori, we love that movie, because it's very appropriate to the Polynesian people and also to us as Māori people. In this case, Maui for us is known as Maui Tiki Tiki a Taranga, and he is the reason why the North Island of New Zealand exists. Okay, so we believe Maui stood on the South Island. He used his grandmother's magic jawbone, which is Maui's hook, and he threw it into the ocean. He obviously caught something, and as he was pulling, up surfaced this huge stingray, and that there is the North Island. That represents the North Island of New Zealand. So we call the North Island Te Ika a Maui, which is the fish of Maui. The South Island is Te Waka a Maui, which is Maui's canoe. Okay, so that's just a little bit of history about Maui in New Zealand.
Okay. Come on, wiggle. Hey, very good. Good enough. Yeah, enough. I just found them. Cousin Daniel? Kia ora. Aya, tas pua maya, tahito maya, te kahu yung ngariki. Aya, tahu mia tu kaku. Ata kai mara tuatahi. Tera me kuafe. Oh, kiri. Oof! Oof! Ngā manuhiri tuārangi, tuārangarangai. Whakaeke mai, whakaeke mai, whakaeke mai. Wau ko tū te whare mai re, wau te rangatira o tēnei. Ladies and gentlemen, kia ora. Kia ora, welcome here from our sacred lands of Pāwharaka. My name is Tū Te Whare Maire, Chief of the Ngāti people. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our home. What you have witnessed is what we call the Pōhiri, the welcoming ceremony. Welcoming you, the visitor, to our home here of Tawanga Herepa. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. To complete all formalities, myself and your chiefs, when we go with the ultimate greeting of our people we call Hongi. Chief, your name and where you come from? Your name, sir? Michael. The fourth. Kia ora. Your name and where you come from, Chief?
Nick from America.
Step forward, sir. Kia ora. Your name and where you come from, Chief?
Adam from America.
Chiefs, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the completion of the hongi simply now means you can smile, you can now laugh, you can now relax. 10th party or evening is all over. All formalities are now being complete, so really do enjoy yourselves. For most of all, chiefs, you can now breathe. Okay, now ladies and gentlemen, what's going to happen from here on in is you're going to follow me inside our home of Tawanga Herepa. There you will learn, well there you have the opportunity to learn about our people, about our culture. Yeah, there's no restriction on camera use. You are more than welcome to use your cameras, the video cameras, as much as possible. And it is a free-for-all, ladies and gentlemen. It is almost like an exhibition of sorts. Okay, so you are more than welcome to walk around and ask the questions that you really would like to ask. So there's no restriction as well on asking questions, on taking photos. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, all we want you to do is enjoy your journey through our world, the world of the Maori. Kia ora!
Question. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to take some photos. If you have any questions, don't refrain from asking, ladies and gentlemen. It's my duty to answer any questions that you may or may not have. But if not, then feel free to take as many photos as possible, okay?
Any more questions?
a big whiff that smells like Outback Steakhouse. Sorry.
Oh no.
I just said that.
No, it's okay. It's my vlog, so it's okay. It's part of the experience.
Yeah. How'd you enjoy the welcome ceremony there, Chief? It was impressive. Hard to stand still. I got a little chilly out there. But it was good. My brothers are probably chilly as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. They're tougher men than me, that's for sure. So what are we doing here? Well, trying to carve. Okay. Yeah. Coming at it, go. Ouais, mais c'est une attaque. De côté, ça ajoute.
Whatever works for you works. Okay. Ready? And down. Up. Thank you. There. Oh, you've done this before. Let's do full throw. Consecutive. Ready? And down. Up. Right. Left.
I know that like you guys have different like tattoos and markings like sometimes based on like genealogy or like your ranking. So I wanted to ask like what does yours mean? Because yours covers your entire face.
So in this house here, I take care of the spiritual stuff. Because any markings above the olives represents the spiritual realm, this is the closest part to the heavens. So everything on our markings here talks about genealogy, reciting from the heavens all the way to the physical, which is us. Any markings below the olives represents our physical attributes. White is the things you see, hear, touch, feel. So all those markings will be put under the olives. So that's why mine's are different, is I take care of the spiritual stuff.
I was gonna ask him about that.
I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wahi means place, taka means prepare, kai means food. Wahi taka kai is the place where we prepare your food. Māori people are very, very literal in the way we name things. So for example, rangatira, chief, actually means, ranga means to weave and tira means to people. So chief's responsibility is to weave people's hair, which is hopefully what I've just asked. You're welcome, my interwoven net. Welcome to this area, as I mentioned, Wahi Takakai, where we're preparing your meal. The name of your meal is hangi. Can you say hangi? Hangi. Very good. The hangi is our method of cooking that we use to cater for large numbers of people on special occasions. What we do is we dig a hole or a pit 1.5 meters wide, 1 meter deep, depending on how many people we are catering for. On top of this hole, we stack wood. We stack the wood up to about yay high. On top of the wood, we place geothermal volcanic rocks. Burn the wood, wait for the wood to collapse, the rocks fall inside the pit. We then remove the ash, leaving a pit full of hot rocks. On top of the hot rocks, we place our food baskets. And the first food basket is the meat. It needs to be closer to the heat in order for it to cook right through. On top of the meat goes the vegetables and whatever else we would like to add inside our meal. The food is covered with wet hessian or potato sacks. And they react with the hot rocks and create steam. We get the dirt that we dug out, put it back on top, compact it down, and after 3.5 to 4 hours. Yeah. I'm not a mind reader, but I know what you're thinking. That's what smells so good. Now there are, of course, if your food doesn't come out looking like this, it's absolutely fine. You can still save the day. All you have to do is cover the food back up, go down the road, buy fish and chips. Take as many still photos and video shots of my family. In case of an emergency, exit signs situated to your left, to your right, behind me. You see us running that way, follow. But one thing our people have become very accustomed to, that is loud and thunderous applause. Very good, very good. You've got to try that after each item, don't be shy. Other than that, all we want you to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy your entertainment through the world of the mouth. Kia ora! Tauraki, tauraki! Tauraki, tauraki! Tauraki, tauraki!